moves this football season, Bell Bank has given one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com.
In the order, no, and then yes.
Okay,
you got it.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Power Trip Morning Show. Here we are, Fargo Flash over there, Ben Lieber, Tommy Olsen. Here we are. Vikings on the bye week, but we're still talking college football. Fargo, before you roll on out here, you've kind of already mentioned a little bit there, but what are the big college football games this week since the Gophers are not playing?
Here's how you plan your Saturday. So the first game is actually the game that Ben and I are betting on this week.
Okay,
so
good.
Nebraska's at number 16, Indiana. Indiana is -6.5. I am taking the Hoosiers at home. In Nebraska, Cornhuskers is who Ben is taking. And it's one of those teams where...
That's the old-fashioned Big 12 bias right there. That's what it is.
Indiana, number two scoring offense in the country at 47.5 points per game. They got a big-time quarterback. Nebraska, of course, has their true freshman quarterback, Raiola, but I like the Hoosiers. I mean, I think they're for real. I think, again, it's a I don't know if you played there. I played there a couple times. It's a sold-out Indiana stadium.
No, it's not.
Sold out.
It's never been sold out.
Never been sold out. I can't remember.
No.
Sold out.
Well, this is the highest rank they've been in a really long time,
Since Randall L., right? Probably, right?
Probably. Wow. So that's the first game.
Good for
them.
them.
Then you have number 7, Alabama, with a loss, -3 at number 11, Tennessee at 2:30. So first game, Nebraska, Indiana. Then you have another game at 2:30, big game. Josh Heupel, I think, will have Tennessee ready.
Grimmer's going to that, isn't he?
That's right.
You really?
Yeah, he is. Yep, good for
I don't
him.
know if either team can afford a loss and get into the college football playoff.
Bama or Tennessee?
Yeah.
I don't know. Wouldn't you think one of them would get? I mean, 2 losses. Yeah. It's
Then
true,
after
though.
that, you have Georgia at Texas. Texas is -5.
That game's this Saturday?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Are you kidding
crazy.
me?
If Georgia loses, they get 2 losses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Georgia can't lose.
Then they're out.
I think they're out.
I mean, according to what we just said,
They will not beat
I gotta
Texas.
keep them out.
They will not beat Texas.
They will not beat
They
Texas.
will not
Well,
beat
Justin,
Texas.
tell him what.
55% of the money in Vegas right now is on Georgia. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I am shocked.
It's in Austin.
Yeah. It's in Austin.
Okay, do I not know something?
I know. I'm with you, dude.
Georgia's so good.
Yeah, what's the spread again?
-5. I mean,
That's this weekend.
yes, 6:30. Well, I know.
Massive.
I guess I can see that.
You want to talk?
I guess I can see the money coming in on Georgia. -5. I mean, it's going to be a close game.
It'll be a close.
If it comes down to a field goal, then the money should be on Georgia.
Yeah.
It's in Texas?
It's in Texas. I love Carson Beck for a while. I don't love Carson Beck anymore.
No, I don't either.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
He's dating one of those twins. You know that?
Which ones?
Miami?
The
Bushwhackers?
Kevin Yard.
Kirby Puckett?
Speaking of bushwhackers, Tommy will be watching South Dakota State at North Dakota State. The Dakota Marker game, 7 o'clock on ESPN2.
I'd rather watch any other sport than that. Hate
I
Fargo.
know I'm way behind. The Bushwhackers is an elite line. That was genius.
Are they even twins?
I'll take
they're twins.
Texas if anybody
Are
wants
they even
Georgia.
twins?
I don't think that they're twins.
I don't think they are. I think I
can't
just
hear
went
it.
with it.
That's fine. It sounded good.
We're
It
listing
just
off-
sounded like it made
we're
sense.
listing off random games
Go
here.
ahead.
Your mic's on.
Another thing to watch. So tonight, go home. This is actually, you see it a very few times. I'd say every 2 to 3 years. You have Virginia Tech hosting on a Thursday night. Enter Sandman.
The best.
It's the best.
The best.
On a night game?
Night
Thursday
game.
night?
Boston College 4-2 at Virginia Tech.
I love how they run the ball. I love them.
Bill O'Brien. I mean, this will be a big time game. And then, of course, this afternoon, Chris Hockey.
Yeah.
This afternoon.
I know.
And I'm not kidding here. Number 1 and the only undefeated team in 6A football, Maple Grove, -12.5. Vegas loves the Crimson, I guess, at number 2, Minnetonka.
Wow.
So we know who Hockey
actually
has, and
1-2?
we know who I have.
It's actually 1-2.
It's 1-2.
It's 1-2.
Is Tonka real this year?
Tonka's for real. And the Tonka defensive coordinator, Matt Lombardi, used to be the head coach of
Yeah.
Maple Grove.
Grove.
So you think
like last year.
he's scheming.
Last
He's
year,
scheming.
so he totally knows what works and what doesn't work for both sides of the ball,
He
right?
knows to pick
so
on,
he's
too.
helping the offense, saying this is what gets some fits, right?
Man, I still
This
would like
is
to
the
know the
game-
inside story behind that.
This is game before sections, right?
This is the last. This is the
playoff
last
starts.
weekend of regular season football,
Playoff starts
and then
Tuesday.
Yep.
seedings tomorrow is Friday morning, tomorrow
Yeah.
morning, and then
Sections
let her
Tuesday,
rip.
right?
Tuesday for 5A and below. 6A doesn't have a. They go right to the weekend.
They go to weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Bushwhackers are not twins. Butch Miller and Luke Williams, two completely different last names. They're not even brothers. Bush died in 2023.
R.I.P.
Did we talk about that on the show? Probably.
Probably. We probably
But
did a
already
whole show about
He
it.
died at 78 years old. He was 78, and Luke is still with us. Luke is 77 years old.
They're that old. Isn't
Luke
that
is
crazy?
77.
They're older than my dad. How's that possible?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, real quick, back to football. Something serious, high school football, real quick.
Yeah.
Did you read the story about Wadena?
Yeah, they had to
Deer
cancel
Creek?
it. Yeah.
They had so many injuries on their team. They had to cancel the rest of the season.
I mean, and again, hats off to them for canceling.
Yeah,
'cause
for
if-
sure.
If you think of communities like that, which is kind of going back to my Fargo area, you have lots of those rural town teams where you're patching together freshmen and sophomores, and they were out there with I think they had 15 kids that were still healthy.
Yeah,
but mostly freshmen and sophomores.
that's exactly what they said. We're playing 14-year-olds against 18-year-olds.
you just
We can't
can't
do
do
that.
that.
Isn't that the chance to go to the Dungeons and Dragons Club and say, fellas, you could be a starting varsity football player today
exactly.
and get any chick in the school that you want if you just put those dice down for 5 minutes. This is your moment.
Totally. That's where you recruit. So
Yeah, maybe they find their Falco.
and
Exactly.
But as
Rock
you
me on
probably
the
read,
dais.
as you read in the article, right, Hawk? The thing is, you think of the lifeblood of that program, right? The youth football program.
Yeah.
And so, God, what happens when you cancel the season? Does anyone want to play? And the good news is, in Wadena Deer Creek, the youth football program is the largest it's been. So they think this is just a 1-year blip, but
Yeah.
they had to shut down the season.
I know, man.
Wadena, great holiday, and I'm not kidding.
No,
Top
dude,
five.
Wadena's a
Is
great
it?
city.
Top 5
I love
holiday.
that place.
I love Wadena.
Where the hell is that? Where's
It's going
Wadena?
up 10 here.
On the way to Detroit Lakes, my uncle John Conzemus,
Driving
the
along,
late
driving
John
along, you
Conzemus,
go right through
Hall
Wadena.
of Fame coach at Wadena High School.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Great hospital. in
40 years
Wadena,
he's a
too.
coach there.
Played a lot of shows in Wadena. I like
Did
that
you?
place a lot.
Nice.
I still have. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did this year.
Wadena's very underrated now.
I'd go right there.
It's
with
like
you.
the last thing, last civilization until you get to Fargo. That's a tough stretch of 10.
Well,
right
it's
there,
one of those
whatever it
stretches
is.
too where you go from a 65 to a 40,
Yeah,
and you don't even
45.
know it, and all of a sudden,
Boy, you with me on that?
Totally.
Loaded.
My last comment here before I will let you guys take over the rest of the show here. Ashton Genty, so he's this running
The
back.
running back from Boise.
Dude,
Unbelievable.
What's going on?
he averages 10 yards a carry. 10 yards. This isn't high school. So here's I'm going to go back to a lot of you young guys don't remember. Ben maybe doesn't. 1988. Barry Sanders.
Sure.
Barry Sanders through 6 games had 1,248 yards rushing and 18 touchdowns. I mean,
Say it again. 12. What was it?
So actually, he had 1,156 yards rushing through 6 games. This guy has 1,248. Barry had 19 touchdowns. This guy has 18. This is what Barry Sanders finished the season in 1988 with. 2,850 yards rushing.
2,800?
Yes, and 44 touchdowns. So let me read off the numbers here. I'm not joking. So he's kind of hanging in there the first 6 games. Then he goes. So again, this is your conference, right, dude?
Yeah.
This is his last part of the
Barry.
season. This is when everyone knows he's the man.
This is Barry at Oklahoma State.
Okay.
320 yards rushing, 215, 312, 293, 332, 222. Here are the touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Dude, he just went. I mean, he was great through 6 games, and then he put up another 1,600 yards in the second half of the season.
I know it's generational, right? My dad screams about Jim Brown. The generation right before I watched football was Walter Payton. Barry Sanders is the best running back I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Crazy.
You guys too? Ben, where do you stand on that?
Yeah,
Sanders is my number one.
That,
You guys it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue.
I mean, his college is. But
Is that the record? That's the record.
Ben played with LaDainian Tomlinson and Adrian Peterson. You played with 2 of the all-time greats.
LaDainian's the last time kind of a non-power 4 guy got to New York. That was in 2000. So as a running back. So everyone's saying Ashton Genty is probably, I mean, at this point in the season, he is the Heisman Trophy winner.
He's the favorite on DraftKings at plus 210.
Yeah.
Do you know who the last one non-running back is? Non-Power 4?
No.
This is. I just saw this the other day. That's why I'm asking.
To win or
Pretty
to
recent.
get there?
To get to New York. This is pretty recent, actually.
just to get to New York.
Was it Moss?
Nope. Very recent, actually.
Huh.
No idea.
Had to be a wide receiver.
Jordan Lynch from NIU. You remember that name?
Oh, the quarterback?
The quarterback.
Yeah.
They brought it up on College Game
He got
Day.
to New York?
Yes.
Come on.
That's on College Game Day facts.
Wow. I might have to fact check that.
I swear.
Dang. Anyways, if you get this guy's for real. He goes up against Oregon, I think week 2.
Yeah.
Dude, he had Oregon on the ropes.
Yeah.
They lost by a field goal to Oregon, which of course we know Oregon's now number 2 in the country. So
They say he's 5'9", 215. I think they're being generous.
Yeah, I think they're being. Wow.
Yeah.
He is built.
He is.
Built.
so he's a junior. I mean, does he go to the league or does he
100%.
now?
As a running back?
Completely.
No, I'm just saying right now. I mean,
you mean skip his senior year?
I'm just curious.
Huh.
Does he skip his senior year?
Why, if you win the Heisman, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Jordan Lynch
100%.
made
right,
it to
dude.
New York in 2013. Lost to Jameis Winston.
That shocks me.
Bringing some facts up. That's great.
Eating those W's.
So he goes now, right?
Yeah.
We go now.
We go now.
Is he first round?
Like now.
He's the
We go
first.
now.
He's the first running back off the board. It's not even close.
Well, I think that's true. I just wonder if, first round, though? Yeah, probably now. After this year, with running back being what it's been, I bet you're right.
I think there's a little bit of a resurgence.
I
of
agree
running
with you,
backs,
man. It's
too.
all cyclical, right?
I love it.
We
Yeah.
talk about it all the time. This kid's something else to watch, though. Just
He's
watching his
different,
highlights,
dude.
it's really something.
Yeah.
Really, really something.
And then, of course, a great quarterback from Miami, Cam Ward, who's put up big numbers. And then I'm so curious to see the Travis Hunter Colorado effect because he is a big-time player who sits on the field the whole game. And I think right now, Corey, they have him kind of number 3 in the Heisman running. And then, given last week, and again, the efficiency numbers for Dylan Gabriel are crazy, the Oregon quarterback. And my guess is he's the 4th guy. But although there's a West Coast bias, right? So, he has to keep making the run, and they got to be, a top 2 team in the Big Ten for sure. And if they are, and he's a big part of that, my guess is he gets to New York as well.
Try this one just for fun, since you brought up Barry Sanders in 1988. He won the Heisman, right?
Yep.
Oklahoma State. Mm-hmm. The 2 right behind him, he beat 2 quarterbacks.
What year again?
1988.
Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman finished 3rd.
And Rodney Peete.
And Jesus
Christ.
That was
him.
just era.
That's
just era.
Fargo was like, where am I going to go play?
Rodney Peete and Troy Aikman.
Where am I going to go?
Who's the 4th guy in New York?
This article just has the top 3. I'm not sure. It has the top 3
it
for
might have
every year.
been. Who's the defensive?
Hey, let me try a
tackle
couple
for
other
Washington?
years. Let's just see if you're like a stump the Schwab kind of situation here. How about
No, come on.
that one's too easy. How about this? Who's the last running back to win the Heisman? Just period.
Well, it's Alabama. It's
Reggie?
Is it Mark Ingram?
Henry? Ingram.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry,
Sauce.
yeah.
2015, he beat another running back and a quarterback. 2015.
Mariota?
Don't know. Who do you got?
Hold on, Derrick Henry. So
Derrick.
He beat a West Coast running back and an East Coast quarterback.
A West Coast running back. Oh, the Oregon?
You're going to kick yourself.
I don't know.
Not Dalvin.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh,
He beat
God.
Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
So good.
And then the quarterback, East Coast.
Manziel?
He loves massages.
Oh, no.
Sean Watson.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, last year,
Watson finished
2023.
second the next year, too. Go ahead, sorry.
That's okay. Last year in 2023, Ashton Genty had the entire season, all 12 games, 1,347 yards.
Come on.
6 games, he's got 1,248 this year.
God. What happened?
6 games,
What does
he's
he
got
do, Ben?
1,248 yards.
He starts to lift weights? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean,
He's
I
already got
did say
17 touchdowns.
I don't. I mean, there's something I read over the week on ranked all the top 25 college players and where they were ranked preseason. I don't think he wasn't even ranked in the top 100 list, which he shouldn't be given the stats that Hockey just read. So I just don't like.
I know.
I mean, I know there's maturity, in terms of your physical maturity, but this is such a.
What are you saying? He's got to get tested? What's the deal here?
Seems a little sketchy.
Yeah, what's going on? Did he go Latimer on it, or what's the deal?
Exactly.
What are you trying to insinuate here?
Too many Jolt Colas before games?
No such thing.
Yeah.
Right.
No such thing as too many.
Yeah.
Thanks, Flash.
Flash, you're the best.
Real big week in college football, and of course, big game today, Hawk. Good luck to your Crimson.
And good luck to your guys. That's great. Let's have some fun. Good luck, kids. Take care of each other. Have fun. Enjoy it.
Bye.
Let's go to Hy-Vee right now.
Time now for the Vikings Report, presented by Hy-Vee, the official grocery partner of the Minnesota Vikings. Linebacker Jonathan Grenard joins the power trip next, thanks to Hy-Vee.
Blake.
The Fan.
Get ready, Minnesota. The Abbott brothers and Trampled by Turtles are bringing their electrifying energy to the XL Energy Center, and we don't want you to miss out. So caller 11 right now will win your way in with a pair of tickets. Call 800-320-5326.
Taste the rainbow, Tommy. Taste the rainbow. It's Power Trip Morning Show. I just don't know what's going on in the world. I'm not a young man. Okay.
I don't think most people are in touch with the same world that
I
Tommy
don't think
is.
so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Taste the rainbow, Tommy. Taste the rainbow.
Oh, no. We haven't talked about it yet, but now that Zach's here,
What happened? Yeah,
former
man. Sheesh.
member of One Direction, founding member of One Direction, Liam Payne, dead at the age of 31, fell out of a third-story balcony at his hotel in Buenos Aires, Zachary.
Yeah, that sucks, man. That sucks, and you're the one who broke it to me.
You're welcome.
Oh, wow.
And
Good choice of words.
I panicked because all it said was R.I.P. Liam, and I'm like, which Liam? And then right as I was like going to Google, that thought in my head, I'm like, well, it can't be though. He's no way. And
What other
it turned out to
Liams did
be-
you consider? Gallagher?
I couldn't think of any in particular till I thought of him right before I saw his picture come up on Twitter and the breaking news and all that. So, but yeah, that sucks, man. He was a big part of my late high school, after high school music career or listening career, I should say. Put on a hell of a show here at Huntington Bank Stadium in July of 2015, and made some great music. And it's a damn shame, really.
Do
is.
we have an update? Because the last I heard is there were reports that he may have been intoxicated, right? But they have no details yet about how he fell.
Yeah, cops were called shortly before it happened because of they said that there was a man that was being aggressive that could be on drugs or alcohol or both. And so that's the latest I've heard this morning.
Still says under the details of the death remain under
Yeah.
investigation.
So we don't know if it was accidental or worse, and I don't know.
All right.
But
That sucks. 31, and he's got
Yeah.
a 7-year-old kid.
Oh, that's awful.
Yep. Yikes.
his Harry Styles' mom posted a tribute of 3 words on her Instagram: "Just a boy." And yeah, I can't believe 31 is
31.
way too young. So
Well, this is a tough way to segue out of that. We got to do a short segment here because we have .com Tom in the next segment. But can we hit some sports? just
Sure,
real quick?
Saucy.
sure, yeah, of course.
It's time for Fan 5 on the Power Trip, presented by All Around Property Preservation.
That's right. Thank you all around. I want to say thank you to Carbonis as well, as we would have done news the prior segment. Didn't get to it, but thank you, Carbonis, as well.
The Lynx lost 80-77 in a heartbreaking 3-pointer from Sabrina. Is it Ionescu?
UNESCO.
Nescu?
Yeah, just
UNESCO.
UNESCO.
UNESCO. Okay. The Liberty are now, they own a 2-1 lead in the WNBA Finals. The Lynx led by as many as 15, but the Liberty ended the third quarter on an 8-0 run and just kept chipping away. The Lynx had over 19,000 people at the Target Center. Game 4 is tomorrow at 7 at the Target Center. The Liberty are currently 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, Max was there, and Max was one of the record breakers. Again, largest crowd in the Lynx history.
And it was electric in there. And when I tell you, I've never seen the Target Center that, like, the line in the very front door was damn near all the way to First Avenue. Like, it was outside. It was absolutely insane. I don't think they anticipated 19K people being there. And you would have thought that it was a library after that Sabrina Ionescu shot, because she just silenced the whole building, man. And she was not even shooting for most of the game. She was finding other ways to impact the game. But even when the Lynx were up by 15, the Liberty, they just kept chipping away. And then Stewie lived up to her namesake, took over the world. And it was a tough loss, because like Corey said earlier, there was a lot of opportunities for the Lynx to put that game away. They missed a lot of layups. They missed a lot of close shots, rushed a lot of shots, and it was unfortunate.
The Gophers are on a bye. The Dodgers smoked the Mets 8-0. They take a 2-1 series lead. Game 3, the ALCS, is today at 4:08. The Yankees lead the Guardians 2-0, and the Wolves lost 125-123 to the Bulls in preseason. They open on Tuesday in L.A.
So, .com Tom in a second. We'll do some Vikings news and NFL news with Tom and Ben Lieber, of course. We did have a chance to talk to KOC yesterday. We'll replay that at 8:20 or so. Parker Fox in a little bit as well. But .com Tom right after this. Power Trip Morning Show on the Fan.
The Power Hour is live. KFAN.com/watch is where you can find it. It's all thanks to Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed.
Speaking of unleashed on the TV, and now on KFAN.com/watch, the great Tom Pelissero, our friend, our NFL expert. Look at him. Looks like still unpacking a bit there, Tom. Is he muted? There he is.
Truck's arriving in an hour.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we're kind of, as you can tell, if you like to be stressed out, what moving looks like. Yeah, it's a great time. Just got back from getting some more boxes, and we're gonna throw some crap in it and tape it up and see it in 10 years.
So you are in the midst of moving out. That stuff is going to the new place. So you're at the very beginning of this.
Well, don't say it that way, Hawk. I like to think that I'm like at the 1 yard line of this entire thing. So I've already got the new studio is set up. I've been on NFL Network the past week at the new house. So that part's, that's the biggest technical challenge, which everything seems to be good there. So everything out this morning and everything into the new house tomorrow. And then we're done, Hawk. So just,
okay, I got you.
This is the end. This is the Super Bowl right here.
Let me make a prediction for you. And you've already gone through part of this. What you're finding out is that about 3/4 of what you own, you don't need. Mm-hmm. And what you'll find out a little bit later is about half of what you packed will never be unpacked.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was in the garage last night. So there's like a workshop here, which you can imagine based on, how much I work with my hands, how much I've been in there in the last 9 years. And I literally was finding things with notes from the previous owner being like, hey, this is here. If you need this part, I'm like, it's unopened.
Yeah.
No, never.
Tom, that was the nicest possible way of him saying, that stuff looks like garbage, just throw it away.
Oh, listen, man. Rolf the dog on the StreamYard says, is Tom in the back of a Goodwill store?
I have made a few Goodwill stops already. I'll tell you that much.
That's the best way right there. That'll do it. And then you know what's best is you go back and buy it again sometime. That's what I've done a couple of times.
I don't know why I felt sorry, Hawk. I don't know why I felt so much shame one time. I dropped off a whole carload full of Goodwill stuff. And the guy at Goodwill goes, moving? I'm like, nope, no, not moving, just clearing out. He's like, all this stuff and you're not moving? I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, not good.
What we've got.
Listen. If anybody, by the way, if anybody's a 38 regular and wants like 10 game used suits, turns out those are harder to get rid of than you would think. Apparently, Sarah took them to a bunch of stores yesterday and no one would take my suits. So everybody's 38 regular. I'll get Hawk your address. I'll mail you a suit.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, give me another 5-6 pounds. I might get down there. You just never know. Hey,
I mean,
by the way,
there's nothing left of you at this point.
I'm working on it, man.
You're like a 36.
I'm trying. By the way, again, as always, let me get this out of the way right away because I want to make sure I don't wait too long. Our guy, Tom Pelissero, brought to you by our friends at Bell Bank and their Bell Bank Pay It Forward promo. Winner this week, the man who chose his charity and was chosen is Greg Biedler, and the organization is Invisible Wounds Project. Help people connect with therapists that are specialized in working with our veterans and our first responders. Provide wellness and social connection activities that help those they serve get out and reconnect with their peers. The Invisible Wounds Project. What a great charity. Their website is iwproject.org. And again, they are the charity this week. Thanks, Greg Biedler. $1,000 from Bell Bank to Invisible Wounds Project because of you, Greg. Well done. If you want to nominate a charity, go to KFAN.com. Just type in the keyword Bell. Thank you, Bell Bank. You guys rule.
Sauce, you had your hand up.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm great, Sauce.
I think
How
we've
you
established he's a little overwhelmed right now.
I'm fine. I don't know what's going on upstairs, but I'm fine.
We saw over this week a lot of names and a lot of people were traded. Do you expect that to continue? And do you expect maybe the Vikings to dip into the maybe giving up a first-round pick for a defensive player before the trade deadline?
I mean, a first-round pick, you're talking about like a massive type of a trade. I do think that, these things tend to come in waves. Usually we get like 8 to 10 trades during the season. Sometimes a little more, sometimes it's a little less. What was fascinating to me was there were 0 trades in the NFL from August 29th through October 13th. And then we had 4 in a 24-hour period. Usually, you are getting to a certain point here and teams are starting to figure out a little bit better. Are we buyers? Are we sellers? Do we have a good team? Do we not? The trade deadline was actually pushed back 1 week this year. So we got 3 more rounds of games. So there's a bunch of teams here teetering on the brink of being a 1 or 2 win team. And, kind of what are we doing? Should we be trying to turn some of these guys in contract years into assets, or should we continue to try to go for it? There's teams like, the Browns just sent Amari Cooper to the Bills. That's not a total, fire sale mode type of a move. Cooper was in a contract year. They paid him almost his entire salary, but you get a 3rd-round pick out of the deal. Devontae Adams was a unique type of situation. There'll be, I think, more of those Cam Akers type trades, which is just hey, this guy's not getting a whole lot of work here because the Texans got Dameon Pierce and Joe Mixon back now. To the late-round pick flop in 2026. Those are the types of moves that I think the Vikings are more apt to make. But, of course, they went after T.J. Hawkinson a couple of years ago. I don't think they rule anything out because, if I know one thing about Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, it's that he's going to examine everything. And, things that nobody's talking about, names nobody is talking about, opportunities that just make sense, whether it's for the now or the long haul. You have to say, right now, based on what they've built, the way that they've done it, a lot of people question the Sam Darnold move. A lot of people question, giving Jonathan Grenard a ton of money. And, there's a lot of things that have worked out in their favor. I would anticipate them being aggressive, but I don't see them doing anything stupid here. I think it's more so, fitting need to opportunity. And, with Akers, there were some other running backs available too. Those deals just didn't work out. So you get the guy that that knows your system, you bring him in, and he should be able to be ready to roll quickly.
All right, I know this is difficult to put like a percentage or a probability on this, but everybody's talking about, all the Vikings fans out there want either Jeffrey Simmons or they want Dexter Lawrence. Like, what are the possibilities and the chances that the Vikings pull that big of a trigger?
I think that the Titans, I would fairly say, boy, that does look bad. I didn't realize there was a vacuum back there. Jeffrey Simmons is probably the one guy on the Titans roster that they would not be willing to trade. So I don't really foresee that. He's too much of like the centerpiece culture guy. It would have to be a wild type of offer. Dexter Lawrence, too, is another one of like the core guys with the Giants. I just don't really anticipate them being in that market. Having said that, I think that we've learned this more and more in the past 5 to 10 years with a different generation of GMs here. There's maybe only like a dozen guys in the entire league who cannot be traded. Like, there's no way you could offer enough for the Chiefs to trade Patrick Mahomes, for the Ravens now, right now with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Like, those guys are untradeable. Everybody else, like, if you're willing to give up enough, you could probably start a conversation. I mean, the Panthers a couple of years ago did not trade Brian Burns for 2 first-round picks, and I want to say there was a third-round pick in that deal as well. They ended up trading him a year later for basically a second-round pick. And so, there's nothing wrong with that because that's a guy they wanted to pay. Things kind of got sideways. They got into a different mode. They decided to move on. But, sometimes when you get those big-time offers, like you have to think about everything here because you're not just talking about, okay, we get an extra pick or picks. It's also we free up all this money. It's like what the Chiefs did when they traded Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins. They were in the middle of a contract negotiation with Tyreek Hill. Then Devontae Adams happened to be the guy who signed with the Raiders. He did this deal with 2 dummy years at like $36 million that pumped up the average from 22.5 to 28, I think. And so Tyreek all of a sudden was like, well, if he's getting 28, I want 30. And the Chiefs like, he's not getting 28 and a half. It's 22 with a couple dummy years. Well, Tyreek and his agent decided, no, we're not signing for less than 30. So the Chiefs stepped back and said, okay, Tyreek's a huge piece of this team, but if we trade him, we can get a first-round pick, another pick, and then free up like 20+ million per year, which what did they do? They trade Tyreek to Kansas City or to Miami. Not only did they draft well, but they used all that money to rebuild the defense, which was a liability and now is the strength of that football team. That's kind of how this entire thing works. It's a resource allocation league. And so, I wouldn't put it past Kwesi to call on any of those, the big fish, just like the Lions, I'm sure, are calling on the big name guys. Why wouldn't you call on Max Crosby or Myles Garrett or somebody else? Doesn't mean you're going to get them, but if you're willing to offer up multiple first-round picks for any player outside of that short list of maybe a dozen guys in the league, maybe there's an opportunity here. It just is going to depend in part on how these next few weeks go for some of these teams that are trying to figure out, are we going for it or are we not?
Shorter term, Tom, what do the Lions do Sunday against the Vikings with the Aiden Hutchinson injury? How do they immediately react and try to get this thing fixed at U.S. Bank?
It's going to be by committee is what it sounds like. They are definitely, checking and seeing, kicking the tires on potential trades and things down the line, but they're in no rush. They signed a guy named Isaiah Thomas, of all things, going to Detroit off the Bengals practice squad. They've got some guys there who have been part of the rotation. That's going to be the plan short term, and we'll see. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson's a pretty unique guy. He gets a lot of attention from defenses. It's good news overall for the Lions on that injury because, the first thing I thought when I saw that replay and he's got the foot that's just hanging there, I'm thinking this is Alex Smith, Joe Theismann type of injury. In the end, it ended up being a clean break. It was not an open fracture, compound fracture. He had the surgery, and there's a possibility, depending how the rehab goes, we could see Aiden Hutchinson again by the end of the playoffs here. But in terms of on Sunday against the Vikings, it's a little bit of an unknown. I don't think that anybody, in the Vikings building, I don't think Kevin O'Connell's sitting there going like, boy, man, we don't know what they're going to do now. You're probably, if anything, like, God, at least we don't have to deal with Aiden Hutchinson here. But that's a really well-coached Lions team. They play with a ton of juice. You saw what they just did going into Dallas, and that looked like a personal type of a game, whether that was personal for Dan Campbell for being a former Cowboy who didn't get a chance at that job 4 years ago, whether it was personal for Ben Johnson because of the eligible, ineligible flap here. It's like, you know what? I think I'm going to call 3 different tackle-eligible plays in this game. Let's run a hook and ladder to Penei Sewell. I mean, you can see it. That they wanted to really take it to the Dallas Cowboys. I think that they're going to come in with that same type of mentality this week because all of a sudden, every power rankings you see, and it's the Vikings are 1, 2, or 3 in that. And everybody's excited about the Bears and the way that Caleb's playing now. People are excited about the Packers. I mean, one of the most unique stats is if you look at the standings right now, not only are all 4 teams, above 500 in the division right now, they are the top 4 teams in terms of point differential in the entire league. They're the top 4. That's how good this division is right now. But the Lions are like, all right, you're moving on to the Vikings. You think they're the hot team? We're going to come in and try to take it to them. And I love what Brian Flores said the other day when he's asked about Ben Johnson. I like to fight fire with fire. That's going to be a great, great matchup on Sunday. I can't wait to watch it.
This has to be B-Flow's biggest test of the year. I know they play them at the end of the year, the last game, but that could be something totally different because who knows where the standings will be. But this is B-Flow's biggest test of the season, right?
I think he's had a lot of big tests, honestly. I do agree to the extent that Ben Johnson is so creative and Brian Flores, if there's a counterpoint, like a defensive version of that in the league right now, it may well be Brian Flores. I talked with somebody yesterday about what happened with the Jets and okay, you fire Robert Saleh and you replace the play caller and everything when you were 20 yards away from winning a game against the Vikings team that's made C.J. Stroud look bad. They made Jordan Love throw, 3 picks in that game. I mean, it's not like, that that was Brock Purdy's worst game. So this is every week is a new challenge here. But think of the gauntlet of quarterbacks the Vikings have already faced. And I don't want to cast any aspersions at Danny Dimes. That was not a great day for the Giants. But again, they've looked better every single week. I mean, they've played a lot of tough quarterbacks. They've played good offenses. I agree. The Lions have so much depth to the playbook. They'll pull out so many things. And sometimes when you're throwing a lot of different defensive looks at an offense, you can get caught, right? You can get caught in the wrong call at the wrong time, and somebody runs a gadget play on you or they have the right call on, they can hit a big play. But that's kind of, that's the razor's edge that Brian Flores likes to live on here. And so far this season, it's been really, really successful.
Tom, I want to get your take on this whole thing because I've listened to some of the Detroit Lions fans in preparation for this game. I know what we're saying here. Isn't it fascinating, though, that I feel like both fan bases are we're looking really forward to this game because absolutely it's a barometer. We could see where we're at against one of the best, and it seems like whoever wins this game can be crowned at this point in the season the tops in the NFC. But both fan bases are also saying, if we lose, that's okay. Isn't that kind of bizarre that we have such a big game and both teams are set up standings-wise to look at this game and say, all right, it's not the end of the world if we lose this game. It's not, there's not a huge downside to losing this game. How do you see it?
Well, I don't think you ever want to lose at home, Ben. You never want to, have a division game at home and you don't come out of it with a win. I think that, they're certainly, especially with the Vikings team coming off a bye, there's always that risk of, you had all this juice going, right? And then it gets stopped because you have a week off. Guys go on vacation, they go back home, they aren't focused on football. I guarantee that's been part of how Kevin O'Connell has challenged the team through the course of this week. You have to treat this, not that every week is the Super Bowl, but that every one of these games is really important. I mean, I think this too, you got a Thursday night game on the back end of it, right? Against the Rams in LA. If you lose this game, then you're on a short week turnaround, fly 2 time zones away, and it's going to feel like if you don't come out, and that's a Rams team that should have Cooper Kupp back at that point. They have not played well to this point this season, but Sean McVay's a really, really good coach. All of a sudden it'll feel like if you lose 2 games in 5 days, it's like, oh, what's happening with the Vikings, right? That's the world we live in, is everything is about recency bias and it's about what just happened. So I do think it's a really big game for the Vikings on Sunday. You're going to feel a lot better getting on that plane when you're still sore from Sunday's game if you got the win than going out to L.A., playing a Thursday night game, and you're feeling a little beat up. And if you lose that game, you're 5-2. And based on the division, you could go from first to worst in a matter of 5 days.
One more thing for .com. Tom, brought to you by our friends at Bell Bank, coming to you live from the set of Storage Wars. Tom, if the Vikings lose this game on Sunday, what will be to blame, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that, we have to monitor the status of Aaron Jones. It was emphasized to me that the trade for Cam Akers was not a response to the Aaron Jones injury. It's nothing long-term. He has a chance to play on Sunday. If he doesn't, then you're going to see, some combination of Ty Chandler and Cam Akers. And, Aaron Jones has been a really big factor for this offense through the course of this season. I think that they'll have a good plan in terms of the pass rush and how they're handling that. Defensively, I think it's just what I mentioned before, which is, you live by the sword, die with the sword when you play the style of football that the Vikings do on defense here. If the Lions are able to, and I guarantee Ben Johnson has not left his office this week, and he's been there round the clock and is trying to find some things, they'll have some game plan specific things on here. And if they're able to hit 1 or 2 of them and puncture a defense that's played with a ton of confidence this season, then maybe that plus the Aaron Jones, possible absence. Again, he's got a chance to play on Sunday. Maybe that's something that could, go in the Lions' favor. Having said that, I get the sense this Vikings team is extremely motivated every single week. They've got a quarterback playing at a high level. They've got a wide receiver playing at an elite level. And defensively, they've got a great plan every week. So I wouldn't, if I'm Vikings fans, I don't go in this game with a great deal of concern. I just think you got to play your best against the best. And the Lions right now, the way that they're playing, they're as good as anybody that the Vikings have seen this season.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it, man.
Signing that Bell Bank mortgage tomorrow. Thanks, Bell Bank.
You got it. Well done. Thank you, buddy. See you later.
Bye.
There he goes.
All right, Parker Fox is in the building. We'll come back. We'll do Fan 5. Ben Lieber is still here, of course. We'll do our KOC press conference in like 20 minutes. Headlines in the 8 o'clock hour of the Power Trip Morning Show as well right after this on The Fan.
The Fan.